Okay, so a few weeks ago, I was reffing at Grappling Industries Vancouver, and I was the ref for the brown and black belt no-gi under 185-pound division. And there was quite a few excellent fights. Among them was this one, which was a touch unusual, and you'll see why. So on the right, that is Ragin' Cajun, who has fought in mixed martial arts, or who fought in the UFC as well as other mixed martial arts events. The fellow on the left, I'm not sure who that is, but it was a round robin, and he leg locked basically everybody else. So don't mess with that guy. You know what I mean? And Cajun kind of does mess with him, so it makes things go a little bit off the rails. And I'm going to do a video here where I'm going over, the points I awarded and why, the penalties I handed out and why, and alternately, the penalties and points I didn't award and why. So, okay, here we go. So they shake hands, make sure everything's okay with the timekeeper. Everyone's wearing anklets, I'm wearing my bracelets, and Cajun starts to pull guard. And here, he just goes immediately to sort of doing like, hey, why don't you just do side control on me? And some people asked me, hey, why did he do that? And I'm sure you all remember Anderson Silva. He was a counter fighter. He would go back. He would even put his back against the fence, hoping his opponent would be overly offensive, I don't even remember, there was another fighter, Genki Sudo, back in the day, fought in mixed martial arts, fought in the UFC, and he was very, I wouldn't say he's a counter fighter, but he's doing stuff where he's providing opportunities for offense to his opponent. Like, he would turn his back on his opponent. He would dance, while in mixed martial arts fights, hoping his opponent would be overly aggressive and provide him with opportunities to, submit him or, do something advantageous. And that's what Cajun's doing here. He is, I think he calls it primal grappling, right? And it's like a mixture of the grappling styles he's done. And, kudos to him for doing that. But that's what he's doing here. He is trying to get his opponent to go to positions like maybe mount or whatever from where he could attack, possibly with footlocks or what have you. So he's being a counter fighter in a grappling way. Here we go. And you can see here he's trying to do more of an... See, you can see he's doing a... He does it again here. He's moving to side control, and he's keeping that top leg in a position from where he can kind of do an inverted guard. And then he'll go for knee bars and heel hooks from there. You'll see in a second. See, like right there. This is inverted guard. He's looking for a knee bar, he's looking for a heel hook, maybe a back take, You see fighters do this from time to time. And right there. See, he goes for a knee bar, now he's going for a heel hook, but you see, his opponent is also going for a footlock. He footlocked everybody else, or heel hooked, or whatever. Everybody else in the division that I recall. Or maybe it's mostly everybody else, but certainly nobody to trifle with. And Cajun is trying to get on top now. See? But now they're completely on the other mat. And so I'm going to move them back onto this mat. And I can't restart them in that position because it wasn't solidified. It was still kind of a scramble. And nobody gets any points because no one was truly in a submission. I didn't stop it while anyone was about to tap or thinking about it, right? So, restart standing. They are crawling back onto the mat. Cajun wants to start sitting. That's not the way it works. When you have to restart standing, you restart standing. You don't, if you want to restart them in a position, you have to say freeze or stop in that position, and then restart them in that position. But I didn't do that. It was a scramble. I said stop. They stopped scrambling, which means restart standing. And we're starting again. And again, he touches him. He sits down. And again, he's kind of offering, look, see? Now he's not really doing inverted guard. He's, I don't know what you would call this, dead man. I wouldn't even call it a guard. Look, his legs are not even between him and his opponent. I was going to say dead man guard, but it's not dead man guard. Look, his legs aren't even between him and his opponent. So that's not a guard, right? So the question then is raised, if the top guy gets side control, is that worth points? In my opinion, no, because you didn't pass guard to get there. Certain things are always worth points. Mount, it's always 4. Back, always 4. Knee on belly, it's always 2. Doesn't matter how you get there. But side control, you don't get points for side control. You get points for passing guard. So if you get side control but you haven't passed the guard, wah, wah, sorry, it's not points. Whatever, here we go. And that's not even side control. He's, okay, now that's kind of side control. But it's not worth any points. He didn't pass guard to get there. Sorry. And now watch this. This is mount, right? Mount should be worth 4 points if you hold it for 3 seconds. Everything is a subject to a 3-second rule. Let's see. 1 Oompa Loompa, 2 Oompa Loompa. See? Did he hold a solidified mount for 3 seconds? He did not. And in Grappling Industries, there's no advantages. You either give the points or you don't. And here, I can't. He didn't hold the position solidified for 3 seconds. And now, scramble time. See? And once again, they go off the mat. So what do you do when they go off the mat in a scramble? We talked about it. You restart them standing. And you make sure they're on the proper sides, right? See? And Cajun's back to his thing. See, he's pulling guard. And watch what he does. Back to dead man thing. I'm not going to say dead man guard because that's not a kind of guard. And don't you dare call turtle guard because turtle's not a kind of guard. You don't award any points for turnovers from there. Anyway, here he's just laying down. So the top guy's going to get side control. Do you award him points? He didn't really pass the guard to get there, did he? Yeah, he has side control, but side control itself is not worth any points. If I try and throw you and I end up on the bottom and you have side control, do you get points for that? No. I've reffed matches that have gone that way. Anyway, here we go. See? There's no question the guy on top has side control, but did he pass guard to get there? No, he didn't. Cajun just gave him side control. Yep, someone from the next mat nearly falls on us. And see here, he didn't even begin doing inverted guard. He's just still doing this. If he'd done some kind of inverted guard and the guy was like, legs be gone, and then gone back to north-south, then I might have given him points. But he's just laying there. And like I said, side control and north-south, they're not worth any points. It's passing guard that's worth 3. Other stuff, mount, knee on belly, the back, okay. That's worth points all the time, but side control, nope. It's passing guard. That's worth the points. See? And here, very unusual. Like, do you give points for that? No. The guy's not using a guard. It's not mount. It's not knee on belly. It's not the back. I don't know what it is, but it's not worth points. And I also don't know what submission opportunities Cajun even has from here. Like, considering that Cajun's letting him basically do anything, this is a very strange position to be pursuing. At least try to take his back, get a seatbelt or something. I don't know. But anyway, what the hell do I know? But I don't know what that is. I'll tell you what I don't know. I don't know what that is. It's not worth any points. See, now he's trying some kind of like donkey guard, where he's going to try rolling knee bars or rolling for the back, Again, this is another thing where you're giving your opponent what appears to be an opportunity to do something offensive, and then you reverse it on them and take their back or submit them in some weird way. See, See, I think I tell him here, you're not allowed to do that. You can't, I said you can't drop to your knees. It's just like you can't sit down without touching the guy first. You can't drop to your knees without touching the guy first. And that's what I just told him there. Maybe I should have given a penalty for that, but I didn't. See, now that he's touched the guy, he's allowed to kneel down. And he is kneeling. And the thing about kneeling that's interesting is that as the standing opponent, you can score points on the kneeling guy doing a takedown. But the kneeling guy, he can't score points on you because he's not standing. And takedowns have to start standing. So the kneeling guy's not on his bum or his back yet. So if the fellow there on the right, if he did a takedown, he might get his points if he holds him on his bum or back for 3 seconds, right? But from where Cajun is, he wouldn't be getting any points for any takedowns because he's not starting standing. So it's not a takedown and it's not guard, so it wouldn't be a sweep. So when someone kneels, boom, take them down. Score the 2. Anyway, there's a little tidbit for, yeah. See? Tries a single. Even if he'd gotten that, I wouldn't have given him points because he didn't start standing. And it's not from guard, so it's not a sweep. Not a takedown, not a sweep. So, once again, I don't really know what he's doing here, but perhaps that's his strategy. To take advantage of people being very confused. See here, if the fellow had put him on his bum and back and held him for 3 seconds, I might have given him 2 for a takedown, Like here, right here. Maybe I should have given him 2 for a takedown there, because he's on his bum, his back. Started on his knees, the guy started standing. Maybe I should have given him 2 there, but I didn't, because this is crazy. And that's not mount, it's not back. You can see Cajun's trying to look for maybe a knee bar opportunity there. And here, he's not passing the guy's guard. He's not mounted. Right? Now I'm putting them back to the middle of the mat because the one fellow went off the mat there. Now he's doing some seriously odd stuff. This is very strange. Very Genki Sudo, actually. He's literally dancing, just the way that Genki Sudo used to. And he's not doing this because he's full of wacky tobacco, He's doing this as a strategy. Hoping the guy will lunge in or do something foolish, and then he can take advantage of it. But the other guy's being very conservative, Oh, and then as soon as I say that, he takes him off the mat. But see, that's not worth anything. They didn't land on the mat. It has to be on the mat for 3 seconds. Sorry, not on the mat. And now watch this. Bam. He gives him a high five in the head. Why did he do that? Because he felt that the other fellow was being too aggressive with his collar ties. And that happens sometimes, especially in no-gi, more for beginners, where people get on the mat, they're full of piss and vinegar, and they're like, this collar tying my opponent. And then they are a bit too, slappy with their collar tie. And Cajun thought the other fellow was being too slappy with his collar ties, although I didn't see that happen here on the footage. Maybe he did it off mat or something, I don't know. And so he was like, you know what, I'm going to give you a taste, But some people were like, how come you didn't disqualify him there? Well, a couple reasons. One, the high five to the head, it happened after I said, okay, go. If you watch the video, I'm like, go, and he high fives him on the head. If he had done that before I said go, okay, that'd be a DQ. But I said go, it's a fight. Secondly, the high five to the head. I see people do it all the time. They tap the head to pursue a double leg, And sometimes they get them, sometimes they don't, But they, to go for a double leg. They're not giving them the Mark Coleman, whatever you want to call it, because he used to do hard right, hard double. They're just giving him a tap, right? So, did Cajun shoot for a double? No, but tapping the head and, aggressive collar ties that aren't slaps and stuff, it's fine. I wouldn't say that's fine, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. But, question 2, has Cajun done anything here to decrease the likelihood of the other fellow winning? The slap to the head, does it give him a concussion? No. It's not like one time this dude gave another dude a super hard Muay Thai kick in the leg, and I was like, okay, you're done. And he's like, that was a sweep. And I'm like, dude, that wasn't a leg sweep, it was a Muay. And the other guy was like, and I'm like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine, but that's not, he wasn't fine. You could see the kick in the leg had prevented the other guy from having a fair chance to win, but the slap to the head. Does the other guy not have now a fair chance to win? He sure he has a fair chance to win. The slap to the head didn't give him a concussion. It wasn't a poke in the eye. He didn't kick him in the groin. Yeah, it was on purpose, but it didn't take him out of the game, so to speak. And besides, there's like 2,000 people in the gymnasium, and they're all pretty much watching this fight. And if I just shut it down, everyone would have flipped out. There could have been a riot. People wanted to see this unfold. And the leg locking guy on the left, he didn't want me to rob him of his opportunity to, leg lock this sassy UFC fighter. He doesn't win by DQ. For that? What are you doing? So anyway, but you'll see what I do here. Because he's Cajun saying to him now, oh, you want to get a little bit wacky? Let's get wacky. Literally and figuratively, wacky, But now he's swearing to me. He wants to F with me, I'm going to F with him. And I'm like, all right, this is getting a bit much. I don't want this to dissolve where people turn from aggressive collar ties to full on. There was a match in ADCC some time ago. I think it was some Russian guy, Karim Barkalev, and I think maybe Ricardo Arona, and they got so aggressive with their collar ties, it just descended into slapping. Then you got to DQ everybody. I don't want to do that. There's a match that's circulating on YouTube right now where it's this ref lady, and there's these two guys. It's a no-gi thing, and one guy's not wearing a shirt, and it just dissolves, And that wouldn't have happened if the ref had been, you know what, hey, here's a penalty for you, or here's a penalty for you, and just reminded them, this isn't the UFC power slap thing, It's just jiu-jitsu or grappling or whatever. Simmer down. Come on. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm saying to both of them, hey, keep the collar ties clean. Don't get all slappy and whatever. So let's just say we're even. You gave him some aggressive collar ties. He high-fived your head. Enough of that. Because everyone wanted to see how this fight would unfold. Me included. And both fighters. Oh, see here, that's where I'm penalizing him, right there. I've penalized him for the, not just the high five, but also swearing at me. You want to F with me? I'm going to F with you. Oh, okay, here, take that. So anyway, Cajun's full of, beans now that he's got a penalty. He's got to be a bit more aggressive because he's down by a penalty. And see, look, single leg, puts the guy down. The guy's still down, and Cajun's going after him. So now I'm going to award him 2 for the takedown. And look, they're still in the orange. They're still in the safety area. See? They haven't gone completely on to one of the other mats. There's no one near them. I'm awarding him 2. And now at this point, I could say stop and then try and reposition them in the middle of our mat. But that's the kind of thing where you're giving opportunity to either fighter to either make the position more advantageous or more defensive or whatever. And there's no one else around. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just continue. And I've told both of them, don't stop until I say stop. No matter where you are, just keep going until you hear me yell stop. So they both know that don't stop. See? See? Cajun gets the 4. See? Cajun awards the 4. Now it's a solidified position. Now I can say stop and I can reset them in the middle in a fair way rather than give people the opportunity to because it wasn't finished before. Now it's finished. 4, hooks, 4, stop, middle. And then, check this out. Here's something I do. Whenever I restart people in a certain position, I say, do we agree? And then when they both say yup, then I say start. Which is technically outside the rules, but I put them in a position, and this is what it was. He had the hooks in, he were face up, and I say now, do we agree? And I remember Cajun said yes, and the other guy said whatever, which is, I'm not voting for yay or nay. It's just, whatever the mass. And I'm like, okay, Cajun said yes, I think yes, let's go. So we go. And now Cajun down by a penalty for the sassy behavior. He's getting a little more aggressive rather than do the whole dead guy laying there thing. And look, he's got the cross grip. And is this a rear naked choke? No, it's kind of a neck crank, but in Grappling Industries, that's totally allowed, as it should be. Otherwise, someone would just lower their chin down into your choke and then say, oh, you got to DQ him, he didn't choke me, he neck cranked me. Well, in Grappling Industries, it's fine, and here he chokes him. And that's the end of the match. What do I do? Make sure he's okay. I raised the winner of the guy who won the fight. Now, do you think the wrong guy won that fight? No. That's the correct guy. That person whose arm I'm raising is the correct winner. If I had DQ'd him for the tap to the head and I had raised the other guy's arm, the whole crowd would have been like, oh, that is morally wrong. You know what I mean? As a referee, yeah, okay, fine. Earlier in the match, could have I awarded points for, like, say, the mount? Maybe. Could have I awarded points for a takedown? Maybe. Points for side control? No. Points for passing guard? I didn't see him pass his guard. Ever. You know? So, there's things I could have done in the match differently. You know, as a ref. Maybe you would have done it differently. But did somebody get hurt as a result of my screwing up? No. Did the wrong guy win? No. So, good job, Jeff. Thanks very much. See you at the next one.